Welcome to AKmtb. The summer have come to Sweden and it's quite warm. And I have some issues with the fan and the blower motor on my Jeep CJ. One of the issues is the relay or the switch. No, not even the switch, it's the resistor, the blower motor resistor, which doesn't work. So when I turn the fan on, it doesn't really work. So one of the previous owner bypassed that resistor with a manual switch, and I only have one speed. That's an issue that I'm going to take care of later, but today I want to figure out if the air condition is actually working, and I got myself a kit, a refill kit, which also comes with a pressure gauge and some instructions. So the first thing I'm going to do with this kit is to take this crane here and make sure that it's all closed. Looks like this. And then I'm going to connect it onto the air condition on my CJ and get some readings. And if that one is under 50 psi, or at least if it's on normal pressure between 45 or 25 to 45 psi, then there's pressure in the system, and then it's likely that my air condition having a other issue. The pressure port on the CJ is located near the coolant on the passenger side, and there's a small cover that you have to undo. I start by undoing this one, and from here you just connecting your pressure gauge. And make sure that it's really closed. I heard some of it starting to go out. And at the moment it's in the blue area, which is a little bit annoying, because that indicates that there is coolant in the system, and it's probably likely that my air condition is not working for any other reason. I'm going to refill it anyway and do the procedure, because it might be different when the system is actually running. This is just the instructions that says that you should do this. So the next step is to undo this like this. Instructions said that well, it's actually good. It's under 50 psi, and the instructions on this kit says if it's under 50 psi, then you probably have too little coolant in your system, and I was on 45. So in that case, well, maybe this will actually work. We'll see. The next step is to open up this gauge all the way. Like this, and then you have to put the coolant and screw the coolant on, and you don't have to do this hard according to instructions, but when you're putting this one on, it doesn't puncture it, but when you turn this one down, you're puncturing the bottle. So what you are about to do now is that you're putting this one on, you're starting the car, and then you're starting to puncture it all the way down. That closes this gauge, and when you start to undo the gauge again, that is refilling the system. And you should hold this upside down like this and shake it when you're filling up the system. Keep in mind that the instructions for this kit might be different from other kits, so you should read your manuals and make sure that you're doing it the right way. And the fill-up procedure is similar, or if not even the same, for most vehicles. What you have to do now is to put it back on the car and start the car, and then puncture it, and then I started to open it and filling it up. And while I'm doing that, the air condition has to be on, and it has to be on full speed and full coldness. It's time to put it back and put it like this. And now I have the pressure here, and I'm gonna go start the engine, and we will see if I will be able to speak with this microphone or if I'm gonna go voice over. However, that doesn't really matter for you because you will get a good sound anyway. The gauge is slightly lower now, but it's still similar. Another thing to look for is the air condition compressor. It's located up here, and this one should click on if it's in function. So since the air compressor didn't start until click, I'm actually going to test something else. I'm going to take the relay from the fuel pump and switch out with the AC clutch, and that relay is located in your power distribution center, and you can identify where it's located by looking on the diagram here. According to the diagram, this is the AC clutch and this is the fuel pump. So I'm going to switch these ones out, and if the air compressor, or like the air condition compressor, turns on now, I know that the relay is the issue. And since I'd switched out with the fuel pump, it will be even more obvious because the fuel pump should not be working correctly by swapping out this. So let's start the engine one more time and see what happens. That was not really what I hoped for. The air compressor and the air condition compressor and the AC clutch doesn't click on, and the car runs fine. So the relay seems to be just fine. And now I'm starting to think that the problem is there's a problem with the compressor. I'm not quite sure where I should go from here, considering that previous owner made some modifications with the resistor. I'm not sure if the resistor in some way affect how the AC clutch turns on, or if the AC compressor is just shot. Either way, I think I'm just gonna refill it anyway, because that's what I'm making the video about. I don't think it's gonna actually work, but well, let's just make the video about the refilling process. So for the refilling, we start by starting the engine. So now with the engine running, I'm gonna puncture the container. And now when it's punctured, I could shaking it a little bit and just release it slowly. Ooh, I actually saw the clutch coming on. That's a good sign. So I'm gonna fill it up a little bit more. As you see here, this is the AC compressor, and this is the clutch. You hear the click, and this inside here will move. So really good. And I'm shaking, and let's see where we are at. I'm up in the yellow zone, and when it kicks on, the pressure goes down. So this is a good thing, and I'm gonna fill it up a little bit more. And stop it there. Let's see where we end up at. I'm within the orange area here, about 50 psi. So I'm gonna go inside and see if it blows cool. Inside here, I'm not sure if it's cool or if it's actually working. It might take a while for it to actually work, or I need to refill it a little bit more. I think we're starting to get somewhere. when the AC clutch is off, it's above here in the orange area, while it drops down to 25 when it's on. I'm gonna fill it up a little bit more. We are back inside, and I think it actually starts to blow pretty cool, and I think this might actually have been working. So it seems like when I fill up the system with the coolant, it actually started the system, and well, I can't really complain about that. It cools, so that's pretty good. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna turn off the engine, and I'm gonna see where the pressure is at when I turn it off. With the engine turned off, I would say I'm at 50 psi according to the diagram, just a little bit over, and I wonder if I should just fill it up a little bit more. The coolant is almost empty. I'm just gonna like open this one more time, and then I'm gonna take it off. Okay, so now we got a little bit more in it, and the last step is to simply undo the plug here. Put the protection back on. So it seems like when I fill up the air condition with coolant, that actually kick-started and made the compressors to start working again, because when I first had it on, it didn't start to work. If that's because of the coolant coming inside the system, or if it's just because some like electrical connection in the switch actually started to work in this case, I don't know, because there's a possibility that both options could be what started the air compressor. But either way, I don't complain too much, because it gave me some cold air inside, so I think it actually works, and I'm satisfied. And I'm gonna put this cover back on like this. This is generally the same procedure for all vehicles. You could do it the same, and you should also keep in mind that you need to get the right kind of coolant. In my case, this is an AC134, and it replaces 134A and R12. But you should always look up what kind of coolant that are safe to put in your Jeep or in your vehicle. Often there's you could find it in a manual, you could find it on the AC system and in different places. So make sure that you know that. So if you like this kind of content and want to see more stuffs on how to do stuffs with Jeep, click up here to see how to do stuffs on Jeep, how to do stuffs with Jeeps, and click over here to subscribe. I release a new video once a week, so if you don't want to miss those, subscribe and also click that little bell, and then you will get a notification every time I release something new. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up and put a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I see you soon.